Awakening. In a village hidden among mountain peaks, there lived a young man named Akira. Akira was known for his exceptional intelligence and skills. The villagers looked at him with admiration, and he enjoyed the attention and recognition. However, as time went by, Akira's confidence turned into arrogance. He believed that no one was worthy of matching him in knowledge and skills. One day, while Akira was participating in a debate with the villagers about the best way to cultivate the land, he dismissed all their suggestions as inferior, insisting that only his methods could bring true results. He ignored the experience of the older villagers and stubbornly insisted on his ideas. After the villagers eventually agreed to his proposals, Akira was proud of himself. But when the harvest did not turn out successful, he blamed the weather, claiming the villagers had not strictly followed his methods. On one occasion, when the villagers organized a competition in quick climbing to the mountain peak, Akira boasted that he would break records without safety equipment. Ignoring the warnings of the elders that it was dangerous, he fell and broke his arm, but he blamed the cliff. One sunny morning, an old sage named Tenzin, known for his wisdom and inner peace, arrived in the village. The villagers gathered to welcome him, among them Akira, who watched the old sage with suspicion. Tenzin addressed the villagers, noticing Akira in the crowd. "Young man," Tenzin said in a gentle voice, "I have heard of your exceptional intelligence and would like to invite you to walk with me to the temple on the mountain. Perhaps I can learn something from you." Akira, confident in his superiority, agreed. During the walk, Tenzin asked questions about nature, life, and the universe. Akira answered with pride, convinced he was impressing the sage with his knowledge. Tenzin nodded gently all the time, as if pondering Akira's words. This pleased Akira greatly. As they approached the temple, they encountered a steep path full of rocks and obstacles. Akira pushed ahead of Tenzin and said, "I will go first." Out of respect and wisdom, Tenzin allowed Akira to proceed. Akira bravely stepped forward but soon lost his balance and fell, scraping his hands and knees. Angry and hurt, he looked at Tenzin, who approached and helped him up. "I suppose you knew this would happen," Akira said quietly. Tenzin calmly replied, "These obstacles are part of the path, just as the obstacles in life are part of our growth. Sometimes even the wisest among us must fall to learn how to rise." They continued, and soon they came across an old bridge crossing a deep chasm. Akira confidently went first. He thought to himself, "I will cross first. This bridge will hold." He began to cross, but the bridge started to sway. In a panic, Akira stopped, and Tenzin calmly said to him, "Sometimes we need to be cautious and wait for the right moment. Do not rush, and the bridge will stop swaying and safely carry you across." After successfully crossing the bridge, they encountered an old beggar sitting by the path. Akira disdainfully ignored him, but Tenzin stopped, gave him an apple, and went to a nearby stream for water. Akira asked, "Why do you waste time and resources on someone who cannot give anything in return? We don't have time for this." Tenzin replied, "Every being deserves compassion and help. Giving without expecting anything in return is the true expression of humanity." When they reached the temple, Tenzin suggested they drink tea. In the silence of the temple, Tenzin began pouring tea into Akira's cup. Although the cup quickly filled, Tenzin did not stop pouring, and the tea began to overflow. Akira, confused and upset, shouted, "Stop! The cup is already full. You cannot pour anymore." Tenzin smiled and said, "Just like this cup, you are full of your own prejudices and arrogance. It seems to me that at this moment your mind does not leave room for new insights." On Akira's face, anger, discomfort, and rage were visible. He stood up and left the temple without a word. He hurried home. When he reached the bridge, in his anger, he did not remember Tenzin's words and just continued. But when he reached the middle of the bridge, it swayed so much that there was no help. Akira fell from it and landed on a tree whose branches prevented him from falling further. He passed out from the pain. When he woke up, it was night. Seeing that he could not do anything, he called for help, but there was no response. He called for hours, but no one answered. The wound on his back from the fall was bleeding more and more, and he had no way to stop the blood. He wondered why this was happening to him. What did I do wrong to deserve this? As time went by, he became more desperate, but help did not come from anywhere. All he thought he knew, now made no sense. The bleeding on his back somehow stopped, but now thirst set in, as an entire day had already passed. Then another. Akira had already come to terms with life when he heard light footsteps on the bridge. He shouted with his last strength and thought, I will do anything just for this not to be the end. And that is all he remembered. He woke up in bed, and next to him sat Tenzin. How are you? Tenzin asked him. Sensei, Akira said quietly, teach me how to empty my cup. Tenzin looked at him kindly and replied, humility, young man, opens the door to true knowledge. You must learn to listen, to learn from silence, and to recognize wisdom in everything around you. Akira said, I am ready. Teach me. Tenzin replied, we have already started, and now rest. Tomorrow we continue. After recovering, Akira returned to the village, but he regularly visited whenever he had a little time. And each time he returned different and wiser. Through these events, Akira learned important lessons about patience, compassion, humility, and respect for nature. His arrogance slowly faded, and he became wiser and more compassionate. The villagers noticed the change in him and began to respect him again, not because of his intelligence, but because of his wisdom and humility and the help he gave others whenever he could. Through his transformation, Akira realized that true strength lies in accepting one's limitations and learning from others. He realized that arrogance is an obstacle to true wisdom, and that only when we empty our cup can we receive new knowledge and experiences. And so Akira, now calm and wiser, continued to live in accordance with Zen wisdom, becoming a beacon of humility and wisdom for all around him. His story became a legend in the village, teaching generations to come that true wisdom comes only when we free our minds from the burden of arrogance. As the years passed, Akira continued to work on the land alongside the other villagers, now with great respect for their experience and knowledge. He became a mentor to the young, passing on the lessons he had learned through his experience with Tenzin. His transformation inspired many, and the village became known for its community and mutual respect. One day, while sitting with young students under an old oak tree, one of them asked him, Sensei Akira, what is the most important lesson you have learned? Akira took a deep breath and replied with a smile. The most important lesson I have learned is that true strength comes from humility and the ability to learn from everything and everyone around us. Learning never stops, and we should always be ready to empty our cup to make room for new knowledge. The students listened carefully, and Akira continued, also, we must always be compassionate and help others without expecting anything in return. That is the true expression of humanity and the way we can create a better world. As the years went by, the story of Akira and his encounter with Tenzin spread beyond the village's borders, beyond the boundaries he could not even imagine at the beginning, becoming an inspiration to many seeking the path to true wisdom and inner peace. Akira became a symbol of transformation and humility, proof that a true leader is recognized by his ability to listen, learn, and share wisdom with others. And so Akira, for the rest of his life, remained dedicated to learning and teaching, living in accordance with wisdom and inspiring all around him to follow the same path. His life became a beacon of hope and an example of how the transformation from arrogance to humility can bring true peace and wisdom.